Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Emily, the home bookkeeper, and on this channel, I help business owners and fellow freelance bookkeepers navigate the ever-changing QuickBooks Online, while also sharing insightful videos like this on all things business ownership and finance. Now, today's video is going to be a little bit different, a little more exposing, personal, vulnerable, and this is unscripted. Normally, I write a little script as I am editing down my screen recordings of my tutorials because I know in each video that there are points that I really want to touch on, things that I want to mention and I don't want to forget. But this video is going to be a little bit different. Now, I told everybody on a recent, actually this was a few months ago, a poll that I did asking if you would be interested in getting a realistic, authentic view of what I made or earned my first full year as a bookkeeper or as the home bookkeeper. Because I did at the time have a real professional corporate bookkeeping job. But as the home bookkeeper for my own company, working with my own private clients, if you wanted to know what I made my first year, and a lot of people said yes. So this video is a little bit different, but let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I pre-checked, and aside from my company name and my actual personal numbers that are on my own personal private profit and loss, there's no client information and there's no other information that is leaked from this video. However, this is the real view of the QuickBooks Online accountant that I use in my practice every day. So, my first year, my first full year back as a private bookkeeper was in 2020. I did start taking clients in 2019. However, this is my actual full year of income, and it just so happens that it was during a pandemic. Now, I did have, like I mentioned, a professional day corporate bookkeeping job that I went to about 5 days a week. And that was at the largest event and sporting venue in the state that I lived at in 2020. So we had concerts, sporting events. We had a hockey team. We had comedy shows and dirt bikes and monster trucks and all of these different things. So at that venue, we ran, well, I can just go ahead and say, it was in the state of Utah. And if you're familiar with Utah, they host the Sundance Film Festival, and they do a lot of outdoor events in the Park City, northern Utah area, during the warmer weather months. So spring, summer, kind of going into fall. And there would be contract laborers that would come in and I would do payroll. And then there was obviously the corporate staff. And then anytime we had events or sporting events, there would be extra contract workers, people doing ticket sales or people working security, parking, cleaning. All of the restaurants in the venue would open up. And then there would also be like food carts. So everybody would have to run those. So we would have all kinds of contract workers coming in. And I did payroll and I did bookkeeping. So what I'm showing you here today is just my private practice, 1 full year in operation. I'm a little nervous. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. So this is 2020. It's a pandemic. Now, aside from the income this report is not accurate because in the middle of 2020, I had moved to a different state, and that state does not require you to pay income taxes. So the way my finances kind of worked that year was that I was actually below that state's threshold. So I actually didn't even file business taxes. I did file taxes in 2020, but I didn't actually file or have to pay business taxes like on my income. So this report isn't even 100% accurate because it didn't need to be at the time. And practices like mine don't very often get audited. Now, I do actually need to go back and make sure that my own books are accurate. It's kind of like a bookkeeper's finances is like buying a car that's a mechanic's special. You normally don't want those ones because what mechanic wants to fix cars all day and then go home and fix his own? So I do need to go back and I do need to recategorize and I need to reconcile my finances for 2020. But the income in here is the most important. It's what this video is about, and that is accurate because I went back and I double checked. So the child support, I do receive child support for my son. And this is not accurate for the entire year. I really didn't start adding this in until like the last 2 months of 2021, just because I then started looking at building a home, but I bought my car in 2020 and that was kind of a pain in the butt. So I started adding everything into my business reporting later, actually like last year. So there are going to be some things in here that are not accurate, but they are accurate now because I've been adding and categorizing everything. I used to exclude everything aside from my business expenses, but it's just really easier to have everything on one report. So if you are a sole proprietor or you are a single member LLC, take it from me. If you are using a business and a personal account or whatever it may be, if you are a single member, just add everything in. Connect your personal bank account, connect your business bank account, connect your credit cards, and then just do all of your personal and business accounting together. Because when you do go to buy a car, when you do go to build or buy a house or get an apartment or whatever it may be, they are really going to want to look at the whole picture, and it's just easier to have it all in one place. Now, that's not a request. I'm not demanding that you do that, but I have found in my personal experience that it is a lot easier. So, I did have some PayPal and sale of product income, and that is from my Home Bookkeeper Masterclass. I did release that, I believe, at the end of 2020. I remember doing a lot of work on it when everybody was stuck at home. So the Home Bookkeeper Masterclass did come out in 2020. I just don't remember when. But I sold a few of those. I had some students enroll in my Home Bookkeeper Masterclass, but the sales is all of my bookkeeping income. Now that is nothing else. That is just bookkeeping income. And I believe I had 5 clients in 2020, and I still have one of them. I had a book cleanup for a pond fountain kind of water business. There was a real estate investor who had a bunch of rentals. And there was a multi-location art gallery, a home flipper. I still have him. Love the family. And, there was a big commercial construction. So it was like big government commercial jobs with like heavy machines. So not like a residential construction. It was more like big, giant machines. So those were my 5 clients in 2020. Since then, I have lost a couple and I've gained a couple, ebbs and flows. But that is how I earned $35,000 in sales, was all bookkeeping and payroll. At the time, I was only doing bookkeeping and payroll. I now do individual internal audits, tax prep that for people who aren't clients, a la carte financial cleanups, all kinds of stuff. Business development, website design, social media management. Also, if you have a business idea and you want to pitch it, we can do a business plan, which is a part of my business development service. And then I also have added on nonprofit. So mostly just nonprofit bookkeeping. A lot of nonprofits really struggle to find a bookkeeper. But at this point, when I had first restarted my business, in the first year, I'd say the first 2 years, so 2019, 2020, I only did bookkeeping and payroll. Oh, except for PPP loan applications. I did those. I did offer PPP loan applications as an a la carte service. A la carte, can you tell that I used to work in a hospitality food service? But yeah, a la carte service was PPP loan applications, and I am so hopeful that I never have to do another PPP loan application. But we could go down and explore the rest of the profit and loss. So like I mentioned, these numbers are not accurate. I didn't really do much of my own bookkeeping because I could have just given an auditor my bank statements at the time because my business really wasn't that big. So these aren't really all of that detailed. But one thing I did want to point out was this right here, the QuickBooks payments fees. So when you invoice a client through your QuickBooks accountant profile, so if you're a bookkeeper or you are wanting to become a home bookkeeper, you take my home bookkeeper masterclass, and at the end you are ready to start your own home bookkeeping practice, you will sign up for a QuickBooks accountant profile. Now, when you invoice a client out of QuickBooks, they will automatically have the option to pay. So you pretty much get a QuickBooks payment or a QuickBooks merchant services account. And that is just a way for you to collect any type of payment. Now, if you're using the QuickBooks payments through your QuickBooks accountant profile, they can pay with Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, PayPal, an ACH bank transfer, a wire, Apple Pay, I don't know. A check. They could pay with a check, which is also just a ACH bank transfer these days. And I think that's it. But basically, yeah, any type of established payment method. So like no Venmo, no Cash App, because you shouldn't be using those for business, but pretty much like any other form of payment, QuickBooks payment and merchant services accepts. So when you send out that invoice, it's going to have all of those options for your client to pay through the email or through the invoice that they receive to their email. Now, just like with any other payment software, there is a small fee. I think it's 0.02% or something. So this is what I paid in 2020 for QuickBooks payments fees, and that is tax deductible. So if you were like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money to pay in payment fees, don't worry, because it's going to lower your tax liability when you go to file. And honestly, you don't even notice it. Like the regular amount is deposited, and then the fee comes out. So I don't know. I don't really notice it, and I've never really cared. And it doesn't help to charge extra or to charge a payment processing fee to your clients, because that just increases the price of the invoice, making you pay more because the fee is calculated by a percentage. So I just let that go. I don't even pay attention. But another thing I do charge are late fees. So the way I have my client invoicing set up is that for the first 12 months while we are establishing a client, client consultant relationship, I invoice twice a month. I invoice on the 5th and on the 20th. So that just keeps the billable hours, unless they are a small client that I charge a flat rate, I bill twice a month. That just keeps the invoices at a low amount. So if they do flake out, if they refuse payment, if there's any kind of dispute or chargeback, I'm not out a lot of money, because most of the clients that I work with are larger small businesses. It's kind of funny. They're like bigger small businesses, but they also normally always add on payroll, because typically the person who was taking care of payroll was either the business owner or a previous bookkeeper. So that just enhances or increases the billable hours. So for the first 12 months, while we are establishing that trust and that consultant-client relationship, I do invoice twice a month. And I also have, there is a grace period to pay of 5 days. So they have a consulting agreement that outlines all of the payment terms that they sign and accept. And then I invoice them. And then if they break the terms that are in our consulting agreement, if they pay late, I do charge a fee. So that is categorized as income. So this is the late fee income of 2020, and it was $413.50. So like I mentioned, a lot of these expenses and stuff are not categorized, or they are excluded in the bank feed, or they are coming in from an account that is no longer connected. But one thing that is accurate, and it's because I use my QuickBooks accountant profile to invoice my clients, is the sales. And this is accurate to the T because I use the system to invoice, and I work in the system, and it records my payments and all of that. So the income is accurate. So for my first full year as the home bookkeeper, aside from my monthly child support, aside from my previous position, because I was working a job at the time, another bookkeeping job, I made $35,803.18. I don't know. That's what I made through my business. Its first full year in operation. Let me know in the comments if you think that's good, if you think it's nothing. I don't know. I think I did pretty well. Like I said, I am a single mom, and I had another job at the time. And it was a pandemic. Don't forget about Patricia, the panorama that was going on. But you guys wanted to see this, and I thought I would really give you an honest, realistic view of what you could make working extremely part-time. I would say I only worked maybe a few hours a week, and I was able to do it whenever I wanted. So when my son was napping, because in 2020 he was a few years younger, or when he was in bed for the night, or even at that time, I didn't have to entertain him as much. So when he was on the floor playing with his toys, I was able to bust out my computer and get some work done. It didn't have to be quiet. I wasn't facing any customers, so there was no face-to-face contact or much of it. I wasn't constantly on the phone. What I love about bookkeeping and what I love about bookkeeping for a single parent or a parent is you don't need a chaos-free workspace. You can really do this whenever you need to around your current lifestyle. So if you could use an extra $35,000 a year working part-time, let me know in the comments below. My Home Bookkeeper Masterclass is always available in the description box and on my website. The description box is full of really great things. I have everything that I use in my home bookkeeper's office, my printer, the receipt and document scanners that I use, the laptop that I love. I use the HP professional business laptop. It's actually really affordable, but it is thumbprint secured. The microphone that I use for my Zoom meetings and what I'm recording on right now, along with the CBD I use to help me focus, and just all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of good stuff in there. So, without further ado, let me read off. I hope this doesn't pop up on the screen. For more business resources, my online self-paced Home Bookkeeper Masterclass, business supplies, gadgets, must-haves, and more, make sure to check out edjconsultinggroup.com/resources, linked in the description box below. And of course, really like this video, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, I'd love to have you, and turn on those bell notifications so you'll never miss an upload. If you have any video or tutorial requests, leave them in the comments below. I am always reading the comments, and I am making videos that you ask for. So go ahead, leave those comments. And for even more behind-the-scenes content of life as a home bookkeeper, feel free to follow me on Instagram @EmmaDawn or connect with me professionally on LinkedIn. And if you need more assistance, personal financial coaching, or bookkeeping and payroll management, feel free to email or visit edjconsultinggroup.com. My firm is fully inclusive and it's ready to help you wherever you may be in your entrepreneurship or personal wealth building journey.